Hi everyone, thanks for joining me for the annual Bibliomancy message for 2021. Every year I do this for the last several years, and usually I just go to my bookshelf and pick out a random book, and then what we're going to do is ask the question and open it up and point. And you can do this on your own. And originally, the way that I originally heard of it was through a Bible. I used to do that with a Bible all the time. Ask a question and then just point at something and then there's your answer. But this year I'm going to use my latest book, the Transmissions for Humanity, Book 1. It's got a lot of good information in it. Questions about, it's a lot about this year 2020 past from an esoteric higher perspective, and also a lot about just different questions that I've had over the years. And it's a good little book. I'm halfway through the second, so I hope you'll check that out too. The link's below. But what, guides and spirits, through this book, what is the message for 2021 for everybody? Listen to the children. I remember this day. Yeah, I remember this day. I was at this park that was with a lot of little kids running around, and you'd think it might be aggravating, you know, trying to get some writing done when there's a lot of chaos. It's sort of chaotic, but it was fun chaotic. So let me read what I said here. I went to a different spot today, a lakeside park that is very family-oriented with lots of activities and kids. A red hawk flew over my head when I first arrived, an auspicious omen, as the hawk is a spirit messenger. Black archduke butterflies were fluttering all about as I made my way to a sunny bench overlooking the lake. The calm lake is dotted with boaters enjoying this beautiful day. Summer is in full swing. This was June 8th. Despite all the activity around me, it was not disruptive at all. An afternoon of magical synchronicities ensued. Yeah, so I remember that day. Because that's the only one and only time that I went to that park to do the channeling. Okay, but here was what the guide said. The pool of life is forever renewing. More souls are incarnating to keep the momentum going. Keep elevating the vibration so as not to fall backward. Well, back, it says. There is a collective incarnation or baby boom happening as millions of souls are wanting to be part of this great ascension process. They are fresh from the other side, ready to elevate consciousness as a whole, before varying degrees of conditioning can take hold. They are carrying the energy of pure intention and aiding in the awakening of the masses. Yeah, that's true. It was a lot of cool stuff that happened that day, and I remember the two kids go, "Let's capture the grown-ups," and there was butterflies dancing. I mean, I felt like I stepped into a Walt Disney movie or something, and my vibration was absolutely, elevated that day. But I think there's a lot of stuff here about the red-tailed hawk. And I knew an auspicious omen, as the red-tailed hawk is a spirit messenger. So I think that's going to be a message for everybody too, that there's going to be messages coming through that. And then the butterflies, there's more about how the butterflies, they were dancing around in circles above my head. It was like, and I was not doing any mind-altering drugs, I promise. It was just one of those crazy magical days. But paying attention to them, which is what they say all the time about connecting with nature and paying attention to, things in nature. The red-tailed hawk, though, I had one this couple weeks ago, and it was, first it was on the tree. I thought, it was looking for my bird feeder, probably, but then it was just sitting on, usually if I try to photograph them or go up to them, they run away. This one did not. It let me film it, and it was just sitting there looking at me. And even if you don't know, I didn't really get the message, yet, but it is an omen. And that day it was an omen of all the magical things that would happen, that day. Also, I want to say, since this is sort of like it's in a dated format, it's each channeling session, maybe the date of June 8th for 2021, I mean, I haven't looked at the astrology. I do have an ephemeris right here. I wonder if there's something. I know there's an eclipse happening. I think it's June 10th, isn't it? Yeah, there's an eclipse happening on June 10th in Gemini. So this could be like around that time frame. This could be like a major Well, eclipses always are a major turning point, but it could be like a major turning point for people who are drawn to listen to this video. You know, that eclipse might be, you know, something important. It's in 19 degrees of Gemini on June 10th, and this was June 8th of 2020. Yeah, and the other part of this that I think it is like, don't let it aggravate you. You know, a lot of things we get aggravated, a lot of things, you know, because what did I say? It was not disruptive at all. An afternoon of magical synchronicities ensued. If you kind of just go with what's happening, then, you know, magical synchronicities can ensue. Because at first when I got there, I'm thinking, oh, there's all these kids, this is going to be too noisy, I'm not going to be, because I always like to find a real quiet spot, you know. And it wasn't at all. There was a lot of activity and different, like, distractions, but it was like it was all part of the guide's magical story, like, put there by divine intelligence, you know. These kids running by and saying certain things, and I remember stuff about the dogs, and this whole chapter is about that, but, yeah, and you wouldn't have thought, you know, I think that I only needed, you know, solitary, you know, quiet to do what I had to do, and really, again, I only went there the one day. I never went back for more because it was, you know, it was a different kind of experience, but it wasn't a bad experience. So something that's different, or isn't what you're expecting, or isn't what maybe you were hoping for or wanted, you know, that could be the, it might turn out to be a day of magical synchronicities may ensue, you know. So just kind of go with the flow. We are moving into air energy. The solar eclipse that I've just noted on June 10th is also in air. It's in the sign of Gemini. So yeah, I think that's the message. I have posted a actual channeled message specifically for 2021 from the guides. I don't have it in front of me, but I think it's called the Great Reckoning, yeah. And I didn't like that sound at first of reckoning, like, oh, to me it reminds me like you're going to be punished. But as like they say words all the time that I don't think are right, and then I look them up and they are perfectly right, or words I've never heard of, and I'm like, should I say that? Is that what they're saying? You know? And so the reckoning, what the definition really is getting an understanding of things. I reckon, you know, I reckon, I understand, I get it. So it's not negative. I think in our society maybe we have a you know, a negative connotation about the Great Reckoning. You know, I thought that too because they kept saying it, and I was just like, oh, that's not a good one. What's you know, I keep asking again, and they keep saying reckoning every time. So, you know, I should learn to just shut up and listen the first time, right? But yeah, and when I looked it up, and the message is really beautiful and spiritual, enlightening, as always their messages are. So that is the message, the Bibliomancy. I wouldn't be surprised if that June 8th, that June 10th eclipse is pivotal for quite a few people, or maybe pivotal for something in society at large, you know. Maybe there'll be some big event that happens around that time. If so, you know, if they throw you a curve, if you get thrown a curveball, like going to the park and, you know, being bombarded by kids and a lot of noise and activity and stuff. But here's the thing, it was joyous noise and activity. There's other kinds of noise and activity that's really hard for me to function in. But this was the joy of children playing and butterflies. I mean, it seriously reminded me of, like, what was that Sleeping Beauty, Aurora, in the forest, and she's singing, and the birds are all coming and landing on her hands and stuff like that. Yeah, it wasn't too far off from that. All right, everybody. I want to thank you all for all your support all through all the years. And if you're watching this still in December, I am offering those year-ahead readings for your personal year-ahead readings if you want to check that out. Thank you so much for all your support through liking, sharing, and commenting. If you're interested in hearing more about the second book, is, you know, where I've got over 100 pages into the second book already, so it doesn't show any signs of stopping these transmissions for humanity. If you have questions, that you could leave it in the comments that you want to ask the guides, or I have a little Facebook. I haven't really even promoted that Facebook thing, but I did set up a little Facebook thing if you want to go there and you know, ask a question. About, you know, or to my Rock and Roll Prophetess Facebook page and ask a question for the Transmissions for Humanity spiritual guides, you can, and maybe it'll be included in the next book. All right, everybody. So have the best 2021. You know, with these planets moving into Aquarius too, the Jupiter and the Saturn moving into Aquarius, yeah, expect the unexpected for sure. Life is probably going to throw you some curveballs. I mean, things are going to be even more unpredictable potentially with the Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius. But it will cement. It's lucky for us that Saturn's there, because Saturn is going to help to cement in the new realities, acclimate to the new vibrations that are being that are coming about as we travel to the next. I said it in the last reading. Somebody said they liked it to human upgrade to 2.0, or human incarnation 2.0. Or it's probably more like 7 or 8.0, but 2.0 for as far as the recent history goes anyway. All right, everyone, have a great 2021. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate, and I'll speak to you soon.